Principle number 5, leaders' influence to the third and fourth generations. This is the third of our relational principles on leadership. We started with follow, serve, and now influence. This whole idea of influence really comes out of 2 Timothy 2:2. It says, all these things that you have heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. We see Paul to Timothy, to faithful men, to others also. The third and the fourth generation. See, true influence is not just one generation to the next, but it's going to be generation after generation after generation. That our impact might be greater 200 years from now than it is in the next 10 years. So influence is critical to leadership. And it's what really kind of leverages and moves things forward. And so this is the kind of where leadership becomes much more practical, much more of the how-tos. But it's and so it's an exciting one to talk about. And we're going to talk about 3 aspects of influence: trust, excellence, and skills. Trust. Trust is the foundation for leadership, as I've said. Trust, it's based on faithfulness. If we're faithful in little things, God will give us much. If we're faithful with other people, they will then trust us and do things with us. It says in 1 Corinthians 4:2, moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful or trustworthy. Well, how do we build trust? Well, let me just share about a person that's near and dear to my heart. He's been a real influence in my life. And that's Howard Dayton. He used to run a worldwide ministry called Crown, and now he runs a ministry called Compass. But Howard, the character of his life, his decisions, and how he treats people is a picture of trust. And because he's made decision that it's painful to him, but has put his family first, put other people first, put the ministry ahead of his own desires. And as I've seen that in his life, it's impacted my life. It's made me examine my own life of how am I doing with other people? What do people think of me? Do people trust me? But Howard's influence of how he has given his life, especially his wife is going through a very difficult sickness right now, and how he's served her and put her first has been a testimony to all the leaders in the ministry. But let me just give you some practical thoughts in terms of leadership, of building trust. This comes from a book called The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey. Some different behaviors. First of all, is you talk straight to people. You're honest with them. You're straight up with them. You're not trying to give them kind of a glowing report and only give them half the truth. No, you talk straight and you're honest. Next is you demonstrate respect. The fact is, if I respect people, they will respect me. But I need to extend respect first. I need to treat people as God's made in God's image, and that they are valuable to the Lord. As I respect people, they will respect me, and that builds trust. Create transparency. Create environments where people will be able to share the difficulties or the struggles or the realities of the situation. Oftentimes, leaders surround themselves with yes people, or will only give them the positive stories and not the negative. No, they need to create transparent environments where truth comes out. They right wrongs. If a leader does wrong, he admits it, confesses it, and makes it right. They show loyalty. They care for their people. They go to bat for their people. They put other people ahead of themselves. So this is just a number of different behaviors, but in that book and in our book, we talk about 11 different behaviors on building trust. That's critical to influence, because without trust, there is no influence. It's a dictatorship or salesmanship. The second area of influence is the idea of excellence. Doing things right and well. Doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Colossians 3:23 says, "Do your work heartily as unto the Lord rather than men." The word means excellence. Do things the very best that you can do. Our work as Christians, and especially as Christian leaders, ought to stand out and ought to look different than the world. And we see in the world, when people do have excellent products, the world comes to them. You know, I think about some of the car manufacturers, and Mercedes and BMW. I mean, they are the best in the world, and the world comes to them. The same thing in our leadership. If we do things with excellence, we promote the right things, we do the right, make the right choices, people will gravitate to us as opposed to us trying to have to attract or have a big event in order to get people to come to us. Excellence is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And so, number 3 is the area of skills. Leadership is about skills. And leadership is a growth in skills. It's not just the Lord working in and through me, but I can grow my leadership and my effectiveness as a leader as I grow in skills. And there are many different skills that we can talk about. You know, delegation, vision, planning, decision making, change management. And John Maxwell does a fantastic job, as well as many other people, and there's lots of books in the area of skills. We cover a number of those skills in the One Leader book. But let me mention one in particular that has really helped me grow as a leader, and that's the skill of coaching. Coaching is not telling. Coaching is not directing. It's coming alongside people and say, where do you want to go? What do you need? How can I help you? What are the options, the opportunities? And then what kind of a plan, and how can I hold you accountable, and what kind of resources can I give you? As I come alongside and coach people, they're much more willing to engage. It's their plan, it's not my plan, and they want to do it. And the great thing is that this is the next generation. The next generation doesn't want to be told what to do. They want to be coached. They want to put their own plan out there and do it. And so leaders can help, as they have the skill of coaching, can help the next generation be much more effective. So, as we think about this area of influence, trust, excellence, and skills. If we're going to grow in our leadership effectiveness, we need to be learners, we need to be dedicated to growing in these areas. Let me summarize this principle. Leaders influence to the 3rd and 4th generations. Our influence is built on knowing Him intimately, being a person that He can use, and learning and using skills to be effective. In the next section, we'll talk about the missional part of leadership, team building.